Hello everyone and welcome to part number 7 of the DLC preview videos for the Northag DLC. This time with MNAD, or the Multinational Airborne Division, with Belgian, Dutch, West German and British forces in it. A really multinational force and a lot of good infantry as well. Let's start in the logistics tab here, where we get the first bit of the airborne bit, with the crack ammunition that can come in the CH-53G as well, if you want to be real funny. And the ATMP British little carrier here from the British Airborne coming around with 300 supply, same as the Kraka. And this one being amphibious though. Rover supply with 500 supply coming around. Then 4 deployable Belgian supply with 750 supply here. The Unimog coming in there. Then we have the Belgian Sultans. We have the British Sultans that you can come around with as leaders. We got German Bundeswehr CH-53 supply helicopter, the Fallschirmjäger Iltis of the German, and the Para Iltis of the Belgians as CVs, where you can just choose which color scheme you like a bit more. Infantry tab wise, you get a lot of different nations here as well. A couple of redundant units as well, just for the nations. Starting with the 7mm, all have 4 deployed 7mm, and they, which are stat-wise identical. MG3 and Mag here coming around in Iltis or in Rover, or the different nations. The British also bringing a 50 cal here, that can also come in the ATMP. And then we have the first Dutch unit with the Marina Dragon, which is a Dragon 1 team, which only has the Dragon 1. So yeah, with only 1,400 meter range, I don't think this is a viable unit, especially not for 30 points at the moment. Like, this thing would have to go down a lot to like 15 points, at which point it would be maybe something that you could spam around. But currently, for the current price, I don't see this being used. Can come in the Laro. And yeah, that's the first Dutch unit in the division. Not all that many of those around. The main core of it is Belgian, German, and British. Then we have Belgian commando paras here with the leaders, with Smokes, Bad Law, and 8 FNCs. Decent leader, not great, but the Smoke is nice. Engineer parachutist, they're engineers of the Paratroopers here with Uzis and Mini-Me. Interesting combo, still not a great unit here, TNT, but it can fire in the short ranges, the Mini-Me at least giving it the decent amount of firepower. 6-man squad only though. And Para Commando, that is an interesting one. Shock, not special forces here for all these guys. And they have a Law 1, so still bad AT, Mini-Me, and 8 FNCs. The transport is the really interesting thing though, as they got a Unimog with a Milan and a 50 cal behind it. So that is quite the weapon station. 40 points though, maybe a bit too expensive. I feel like when you would go down to 35 points for an unarmored truck without smoke, that would be more down where it is really supposed to be. Paracommando here with the Blindesite RL100 that we already have on the BGS with the Germans, though this time around without any debuffs, and it can use its full 55% base accuracy plus 675 meter range and decent aim time for the 18 pen that it has, and that is a really good launcher. So this is a decent infantry, solid firepower, and good AT capabilities. Then we come to the British Special Forces here, or Special Gurkha units here. They're not quite Special Forces, but they are Shock plus Resolute. And Resolute for sure fits for the Gurkhas. And they come with really beefy squads here for the Gurkha rifles with low 80. And 3 light support weapons here with the L86s and L85s for the rest. So really good firepower unit here. 100 points. That is the fair price for these guys. And then we have a double Law 80 unit for only 40 points. So this is a really good tank counter squad as well. Only 4 guys, but at the AT part, they are really fantastic. Gurkha Wombats here can come in the Chinook as well, as all the other guys can come in helicopters too. Gurkha Rover Wombat coming around with a 120mm launcher. And then we have the next Dutch unit with the Mariner, which has a lot of firepower as well. Has one random Uzi, then FL6s, 2 light support weapon and a medium support weapon. So on the mid-range it is a really good firepower unit. The Uzi doesn't really help you out in CQC all that much, but it might help you out in comparison to the Mach. So the Mariner here as a resolute troop doing the job. Then a Para Milan 1 that can come in the Milan 1 Unimog for the Belgians. Fallschirmjäger Führer here with Fallschirmjäger Pioneer. 55.9 man squadron with satchel. Maybe a bit more worthwhile than these guys. Though right below you have the British Para Engineers, which have 1 less hit point, but 2 LMGs, so I feel like that might be the best one here. Their leader without any AT here though, and without any smoke. So this is only with a medium machine gun, not really that great. The other airborne leaders are better. And my Para Gun Group has a Carl Gustav and 3 medium machine guns on a 6-man squad here. So that is a good fire support unit. And yeah, the 3 LMGs here. 55 points though, still maybe a bit too high. It has forward deploy, so that's where this comes from. And then we have the normal Fallschirmjägers, which feel a bit overpriced at the moment. They are priced mostly because they are in 2nd Panzer Grenadier, but that now shows up here and is like, this doesn't work with these guys because 8 hit points with a Panzerfaust. The Panzerfaust 3 is great, but for 70 points that is still overpriced. These guys should be closer to 60 points, maybe 65 points is where they would feel good. As if you compare them over here, the Para of the British get 8 hit points, but they get an extra support weapon here. And yeah, they have the low AD, which is with the extra range against 1 pen, most likely also better than the Fallschirmjäger's Panzerfaust. So this is the better squad, better availability as well. So Fallschirmjägers here currently could use a bit of a hand to maybe go up again in quality. Para leader coming in with a law and 6-man and a smoke. So this is a decent leader squadron. Smoke plus law. A good bit better, I would say, than these guys that just don't get any. These guys should go down in price. Then we have Milan 2s, normal ones, and forward deployable ones for 5 points more. So decent ATGM capabilities in this deck as well. A really solid infantry tab with all you kind of need. No real special forces here. So only airborne units, the Gurkhas being the highest quality units with the resolute trait, but no special forces in the infantry tab itself. In the artillery tab, you get an 81mm mortar, and then you get a really interesting 81mm mortar, because this one fires 81mm cluster shells with guided ammunition. So this is an interesting one. It costs you only 40 points as well. It only has 2 pen. It only has the normal mortar range, but the cluster ammunition is an interesting one, and the guided one also means that it can be annoying. Against light vehicles, I think that can be really annoying. Against anything heavier, it most likely doesn't do much, if anything at all. But yeah, this is an interesting unit for sure. Gonna see how this all plays out. 107mm mortar and 120mm mortars here. Belgian and German coming around. The L118 as a British light howitzer here, 105mm, Belgian 105 howitzer coming around as well. The British one is the better one, as it has way better range, and that makes a world of difference, especially with accuracy as well. So just go for the British one. Tank tab is an interesting one because there's no real tanks here, but a couple of interesting lightly armored vehicles. Scorpions and Scimitars without the good optics, but with cheaper price for that. So decent fire support units there. And then we got the Weasels that can come in a big helicopter as well. And a Weasel TOW 2 and a Weasel with a 20mm with decent firepower here. Only 1 armor obviously though, as those are pretty lightly armored. So not that great there, but the TOW 2 variant for sure pretty decent one. ITO variant on a Kraka here coming around as well that you can use. And then we have strikers and a British ATMP with a Milan 2 on top. So decent little fire support and ATJM vehicles. No real tank though, so you are vulnerable to any tank fights. Recon tab has a couple of interesting units as well. Normal Gazelles, and then we have an old scout helicopter with old AS-11 ATGMs. 2,600 meter range, only 19 pen and only 40% accuracy. But it is also a very good optics recon helicopter for 60 points, so might be worthwhile bringing. For sure, an interesting choice. Then we have the sniper, which is a solid sniper. Scorpions, Skimithars as recon variant, so a good bit more expensive, but also having good optics then. And then we have the Belgian the Paratrooper commandos with recon variants, as these guys have a mini-me and a law. Classic 4-man squadron. The Claire variant with the blinded sight, 83mm, not the warped one, so not quite as hard hitting. 3 minimes give you good firepower though against other infantry units, so this one is the one that you really want to brawl with other 4-man squads. Can come in the A109 helicopter as well, so that is an interesting one. And then we have British buggies with the LSV 50 cal and Milan 2 variant. Issue with these guys is that they don't have quite the same speed as the American buggies, which I don't quite get. I feel like they should go 120 and 100 kilometers as well if the others do. So yeah, currently only 190, which is still really fast. Still one of the fastest vehicles in the game, but not quite the fastest like the others. And I feel like these guys should get the same as the 9th Infantry new units. Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer, 50 points with Panzerfaust, solid squad. And then Para Scouts, 8-man squad with a law and 2 fire support weapons. That is a pretty solid one. And then the Pathfinders with 4 medium machine guns. So this is the Special Forces guys for the British here. This is the Special Forces unit in the division. And these guys really bring it as well. Like, this is not an infantry squad that you want to have your infantry squad brawling with. On the medium ranges, they will shred you there. On the closer ranges, they're not as great, but the Pathfinders on medium range are absolute death sentence for enemy infantry. And the law at least gives them decent capabilities to keep light vehicles at bay as well. AA tab, an interesting one. Starting with a Javelin here. That is not that special. We have a Kraka with a 20mm though, which just looks so wrong. I feel like this is not a stable gun platform, but you can do it. We have a Vulcan for the Belgians. We have ex-Argentine Skyguard 35mm AA pieces here. Repurposed for the British, taken from the Falklands. And that's the only British gun AA that we will most likely get in Wano. And it is radar guided, and it has decent ranges. 2,825 against helicopters and 3,000 versus aircraft. This is a good towed AA gun. So this for sure helps the deck. It's not quite as versatile as a Gepard, but it has better stealth and so on, so it can ambush enemy helicopters quite nicely, and it can help out against aircraft as well. Then we have a LML on an ATMP. Once more, not sure if this really is the platform for it, but yeah, a launcher here as well, which you can use a bit more mobile than the normal LML, which can help out with the rapid fire here. Para Mistral, that is a nice unit. Mistral's always nice. And then a Darkfire rep here with, yeah, good AA capabilities here as well. The extra missiles here on these are quite nice. Another radar guided AA that actually gets you into the mid-range, so you have a mid-range AA piece with that, and together with the Skyguard you have some nice towed AA pieces. Helicopters, the British and the German AT helicopters, a good mix, fast ones and slightly harder hitting ones, so whatever you're coming up against you have something to deal with their armor as a helicopter. That is okay. And then the air tab brings Mirages in rocket and HE variant. The HE variant also having some air-to-air missiles. N5 clusters here that come in with 2 light cluster bombs and 2 air-to-air missiles. They dive the enemy, but they're still not always getting the kill there. And then we got the Buccaneer gang that we already had in the Left Hook Army General campaign, but only for one turn. Now you can have the Buccaneers as often as you want. You get one with HE bombs that only has 20 ACM because it doesn't have the slots anymore for the pods. 6 800 500 kilogram bombs, 2 air-to-air missiles, one with pave base here that also has the ECM pods, and because of the designator here, because of that, no air-to-air missiles, but 30% ECM, and 2 LGBs coming on 1 per card. A seed variant with air-to-air missiles and seed missiles, 30% ECM, pretty low for seed plane, but the air-to-air capabilities are nice to have as well. Then we have a Buccaneer with 80 missiles and 30% accuracy, but no air-to-air missiles. So yeah, 30 damage here on the AJ 168. Pretty hard hitting, nice for 175 points, decent one. And then your air-to-air fighters are the F4F of the Germans and a Dutch F-16A with AM-9Ls. 6 of them. This is a pretty solid air-to-air F-16 here as well, but no long-range missiles on any of your planes. That is an issue when you only have medium-range ground-based AA as well, especially with the stress system now. It is pretty nice to have long-range AA, so that is a weakness for sure here as well. So next to the lack of tanks, the air support units that you get are nice, the infantry that you get are nice, the light vehicles that you get are nice, but you're lacking staying power in the long run. And yep, that is what you would expect out of an airborne division like this. MNAD for sure an interesting one. A couple of the prices are maybe still a bit weird. A couple of the stats maybe could see some light changes as well. But outside of that, the MNAD is a really cool and unique kind of division with a lot of fan favorite units like the Buccaneers, like the Weasels, and I'm really looking forward to playing this deck a bit more as well.